Good morning, babies. Hi, sugars. Hi, lovelies. Hi, sweeties. Hi, babies. Hi. Hi, chitlins. How are you? I hope you're well. This is a general message, so take what resonates, leave the rest. Whenever you find it, it's the right time. Because it is timeless. And please use your own intuition and discernment. Do not force a message. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but, you know, it's a suggestion. Okay. Also, thank you all for all your donations and being here and your comments and being hilarious in the comments. I find you all very hilarious and funny and amazing, so thank you. Y'all will like get me laughing with your jokes, like it's just perfect. So the song my channeled song is Do You Know Who You Are by Atreyu. It's the end of the world and nobody cares. Got problems of our own, so nobody stares at themselves in the mirror anymore. A good hard look could shake you to the core. So, do you know who you are? Part of the solution, or the one at fault? Look in your heart. Pull the pin. Be careful where the fragments go. Live for yourself. Don't care about collateral. Damage and such don't mean too much when your head is stuck in up your own asshole. It's easy not to see. So easy to be blind to the fact that the problems that they lay before us as we were created by lack of our own respect. Do you know who you are? And then, says the same thing over and over again. And then at the end of the song, it goes, do you know who you are? I do, I know who I am. Part of the solution or the one at fault. Because today I'm standing up. Ooh, I have goosebumps. Oh my God, the ads on this page are ridiculous. Because I'm standing up. Look in your heart. Do you know who you are? Do you know who you are? I think this is more of just like a reminder that you doing the work, even though it's like horrible and uncomfortable, because it says a good hard look can shake you to the core. We've all been there when like cringy, just like, oh God, I did that as a person, like, ugh, like, why did I do that? So, it's kind of hard to forget like the importance of you just doing the work on yourself and standing on business. Like, say you're like, well, I want to be able to stand up for my morals and stuff like that instead of like just staying quiet and like letting things slide. That's just an example. Like it's whatever, but it's like hard to remember, like, you might like slip up and not do something. You're like, oh, I should have just done that. Like it's part of the process. Like it's not going to happen overnight, as we all know. But apparently you need a reminder that, just by you thinking like, oh, I should have done something different and like, I'll do that next time, and like that, it's like, healthy guilt. I can't think of the word I want to use, but it's like, it's guilty for a good thing because, you want to be your best for yourself and the rest of, society, essentially. Oh. We have the Ace of Cups, And that's like self-love, you know, even in the times where you like slip up or like fall back into an old habit, you got to remind yourself, like, you know who you are. You know who you are at your core. You know who you want to be. And you're always like trying to be your best self. So you can give yourselves like kudos for that. Like, because we have the Six of Wands here in reverse, and that's just like a reminder not to go for like hollow victories. It's a process. It's when you slip up or you didn't do the right thing, or you know, you have like a moment where you were overthinking and you're like, ah, I should have done that. I should have done, like, to be this person that I want to be, which is my like higher self or whatever. I should have done that. And it's okay, like, to not, you know, you have these hollow victories where you stayed quiet or you fell back into an old habit of your old self. It's okay because you're catching it. And that's like the biggest thing, you know, and truly, like, that's proof that you're doing the right thing and growing, because you're catching it. Your old self would have just like been like just living on karmic time, living on demon time, like, and fine with not self-reflecting or whatever. I'm not saying it was to that extreme, but you would have maybe just, like, say you would have been to that extreme, or you would have been just that person that kept wishing you would have done something different because it felt wrong, or it conflicted with your inner knowing. And so you overthought about it instead of like actually like going and taking like the steps to like turn what that is. So you've shifted since then, and you're like, ah, okay, like I need to, like, you just making that plan of like I will do better next time is like proof that you're growing. You're doing the right thing, and you're not like stagnant or anything like that. Like, you're doing good, and just by that ability to self-reflect. Yeah, I'm definitely getting what the throat thing is, like maybe not speaking up when you should have, or you think you should have. You can do whatever you want, I mean, but if you want to, you know, break the karmic patterns and all of that, it's, so we have the High Priestess and the Five of Swords in reverse. I'm seeing that as making up with your intuition. Like, oh, I'm sorry I don't listen to you. Like, because essentially what you've been doing is ignoring your intuition, your inner knowing. When you're in that moment when you should have done something, you know, you had that inkling, that push, but you didn't. It's because you ignored your intuition. So that needs to like come back of like reconciling with your intuition, with your inner knowing. Oh man, that is intense. I use this like weird coconut milk that like has like coconut fiber in it, and it's strange. It's got like texture to it. I'm like cool with it, like, but it's interesting. And I was called because the downloaded song, you know, that I got is the Do You Know Who You Are by Treyu. I was like singing that this morning as I was getting ready, and then I hit like shuffle a few times, and which I didn't feel called to use it until just now, which is Passenger Princess by Nessa Barrett. I'm your shotgun, baby, for the long run. Don't you know I'd die for you? I'd ride for you. Sin City, baby, come with me. I can sit pretty on your famous leather seats. What I'm getting here is this is like your spirit team and your intuition, like, and you being your own ride or die, like you trusting them above all. Like even if you have like a trusted individual in your life, it's you trusting that beyond that, and not, it feels good to seek comfort outside of somebody. And like sometimes you have to like hear a story to like get all the pieces together. You're like, that was the missing piece. And it makes, the big picture, like you needed like a couple puzzle pieces to, finally put the little, you made 4 quarters or something together, and you're like, what's the big picture here? What's happening all over? And so it does help to like hear people's stories and, seek stories online or whatever, tarot, all of that, but, not giving that power away to anybody else except for your, listening to your inner knowing, your spirit team, your intuition. So like you're being called to go back to being, that ride or die, to your intuition, and knowing that it is your ride or die as well. It will never lead you astray, essentially. So there may have been moments, like, of course, we all got these damn karmic, narcissistic, demon time people, working for the enemy, that are always going to try and get you to falter, not trust your intuition, get you to question everything and be in your head, because they have no inner compass. And so you have to know who you are, like the Atreus song. Do you know who you are? Part of the solution, or the one at fault? You're not going to sway to the enemy. You're not going to sway and be all up in your head. So my suggestion is, like, when you're in that, like, overthinking, like, I don't know the answer, I don't know the answer, I don't know the answer, what do I do? What do I do? Then that's not a good time to force your intuition, because you're feeling the anxiety and fear of projections that are being sent at you. That would be a great time to just get wholly present. My example would be like, if I'm feeling that way at work, I just fully focus on what I'm doing at hand, which I'm working with my hands. I'm doing something physical. I'm feeling the vibration of the grinder. I'm feeling I feel like a slight, cause I usually do like MIG or something, but I'll do TIG in different processes, but usually it's MIG. And I'll like feel the wire, like try to get so present that I can feel like the wire going through the gun, and like what the arc feels like. I try to get like that present to where I can feel all these, like, get my body so sensitive and fully present that I can feel everything. Okay, I'm like, what do my feet feel like in my boots? Ew, it's sweaty. Like that type of stuff. Or just like reading the puddle, like, getting really like into that. Another good thing was, like, if you're driving and you're in that energy, what does your car feel like? And a good way to catch if like someone's projecting like fear on you, or you have a fear anxiety program that you need to undo, then when you start getting present, then you're like, oh my God, is there something wrong with my car? Is there something wrong with my machine? Is this bad? Blah, blah, blah. That's proof that you're, someone's either like projecting some energy on you, or, that's just your own like demons you gotta battle. You know what I'm saying? And that's like a good time to be like, no, fuck that. You're not winning. No. Because I'm just getting like a lot of, these hater-ass haters, the people that work for the enemy, that are just on demon time. They're trying to, because things are ramping up for everyone, we're raising in vibration, and we're getting closer to our intuition. We're starting to see what the truth is about, life, like manifestations, raising in vibration. just like seeing through the facade that's been going on for so long. So they're trying to project fear and anxiety to get you back, and they're like bringing the big guns now, like, because they had us under this like mask for so long, this fog for so long, that we surrender to it. But now we're like, no, because I just saw the Lover's card and the Four of Swords in reverse. We're choosing with that Lover's card to wake up. With the Four of Swords in reverse, we're choosing to wake up. We're choosing to open our eyes, get out of bed, stand up, you know, like it says in that Atreyu song, Do You Know Who You Are? Because today I'm standing up. Look in your heart. In your heart, do you know who you are? You're choosing to stand up. We are all choosing to stand up and being like, no, this is no. Immediately no. So there's just a lot of projections going on, just because they want you. And it may not even be like to the extreme of like, well, just like, you know, the microcosm and the macrocosm, like the society, the secret society, the people that work for these secret, you know, cults and stuff like that, groups, could be projecting on you. But at a macrocosm, you know, it could be like your narcissistic ex, or you know, your narcissistic, you know, just like insecure, jealous ass coworkers or whatever, trying to project fear and gaslight you and all of that. It's coming at all angles. And because we're winning essentially, so they're trying to bring out all that they can because they're getting caught. The mask has fallen off. So when we're in that energy of, you know, that feeling, that anxiety, and like second guessing your intuition and all of that, that's when we really need to get like super present. Because when you're super present, you're in your spine. So like that, a good place to be would be imagining like your brain to where your spine starts, and like just trying to imagine like every vertebrae. Like it doesn't have to be perfect, but just feeling your whole entire spine and being like strong within it. Nothing can get within you. Nothing can affect you energetically or physically. You know, it's like you are fully in your body, and that's going to help you get like have that sturdy foundation to stand up against like these fear projections, that anxiety, that spinning mind, all of that. And you know who you are at your core. You know, you've had those intuitive downloads. You've had that just intuitive understanding, knowing, whatever intuitive hits, like you followed that and you've had good experience with it. Remind yourself of those times. That's the only time it's like really good. Like there's good times to like reflect on the past. Like would be like, okay, I've literally witnessed miracles happen. I can trust myself. Most High always has my back. Holy Spirit, universe, whatever you want to call it, your spirit team, they always have my back. And remind yourself of that. Yeah, because these people are trying to get you in this with the Seven of Cups, entities, I should say, these things that are working for the enemy. They want you to be stagnant with this Hanged Man and confused, and just because without movement and taking these leaps of faith, and that could even be confronting a person. It doesn't have to be like you leaving a job or whatever. It could be like, hey man, so why did you, like, I'm just bringing an example of like what would happen for me or something of the sort. It's like if I had like we all put our own like stencil number on our welds, so like we keep track of like, you know, who's is who, so we can take responsibility if like an x-ray fails or something of the sort. Or some sort of like quality control fails, or you know, whatever. It would be like somebody putting their name, their number on my weld. I would be like, hey man, why did you do that? Like, and I'm just bringing that up because it just popped in my head, but it would be something like that. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I need to leave this job. I need to, those are big leaps of faith, but it could just be something as, minuscule as like, hey, why did you do that? Like that, those are the things that we need to get. It doesn't always have to be this big ass thing to do. Every little movement, choice you make makes a difference, because that's, every choice is a different timeline. So when you're stagnant and not doing anything, you're staying stuck in that timeline. You're not getting that momentous, like, momentum, and it's not propelling you into these like big quantum jumps where you can literally think of something like, I would like I don't know, I just thought of a piece of pie. Maybe somebody's eating pie, I don't know. I would like a piece of pie. There's no pie around here. I guess I'll jump into a timeline where I can get a piece of pie. Like, you can get to that point, but it's like you all have to fight through all this anxiety, the spinning in your head. So you have to get, by catching yourself when you're in that, of like, whoa, what, I don't know the answer, where am I at? And then catching that, that's when you can come up against the enemy, because the enemy is fear and anxiety, those the spinning thoughts of like not trusting yourself. And so once you can get past that and keep catching yourself and being quicker and quicker and quicker, and not letting yourself like live in that stress, that stagnant energy, like we had with the Four of Swords in reverse and the Hanged Man, or sorry, oh fuck, I don't remember what it was. I put it away, sorry. Oh, the Seven of Cups and the Hanged Man, where you're confused, you're like, I don't know, 444 on the clock, you're confused, you're lost, you're like, man, I don't know, like, what if it's this, what if it's that? You already knew the answer, but that projection of anxiety and fear like clouded you up. And you might be like, say, like, I know you all are raising in vibration and doing better, and so you might have things that you just never second guess. You're very good, you're very confident. There's also little weak points we still have that we need to focus on. So when we have those anxieties of like, oh man, what if it this, that's a good point of like where you have fear and where your like little weak points are, so you can strengthen that. It's like doing physical therapy to, heal your shoulder or something. I mean, the shoulder's a weak joint anyway, but I digress. But we can strengthen it. We can do those exercises. And these are like childhood wounds or like past life trauma, that type of thing. That need to be, at the base of it all. So the Empress in reverse, I'm also seeing that as like that fear of surrender, that fear of, what if it doesn't end up good? What if it doesn't come out okay? Or like letting things like grow, fertilize, I can't think of the word, gestate, letting things, grow and do their thing while things seem like nothing's happening. Like, like fucking babies, they're like, in the fetuses, they're growing cells like all the damn time. Like they're like growing eyeballs in a day and shit. Like, that's wild. But you don't see it unless you go take pictures, like go do your ultrasound or something. So you're like, well, fuck, what the fuck, you lazy ass baby? What the hell are you doing? You're just making me tired. What the hell? Like, you don't see it, all the crazy stuff that's happening for you behind the scenes. So it's a need to surrender and accept, yeah, okay, I'm not seeing the what's the word? I'm not seeing the results right now, but it's like surrendering into that trust, because that Empress in reverse can be someone like smothering, helicopter mom, nitpicky, micromanaging, that type of shit. And so then that comes out of fear. Wanting to control comes out of fear. And you're like, well, what, I've had things happen for me before. What if this, blah, blah, blah. Getting that, I don't want that to happen again. Well, maybe you weren't listening to your intuition and you were operating out of fear. Like, say you were like horribly rejected by a person, but maybe the reason why you went to that person was a different vibration than what you are now, which I can tell you were. So, and remind yourself that, like, oh, I was in a completely different vibration then. I was acting out of my abandonment wound. I was acting out of this, that, whatever. Lack of, my lack mindset with money, that type of thing. And I was giving my power away. Like, say somebody talked you into giving like a ton of money to invest in something, and the company like ripped you off, or like, I'm gonna put company. So I'm just because I've known this is to happen to somebody, is like, you put your money into, like, say you invested in crypto through this like quote unquote broker, and it turned out the broker was a fake person and they just took your money, and like they didn't take your money and put it into stock, like into crypto. They just took your money and ran. You were acting out of this like lack mindset because you were, and giving your power away, because they had that greasy salesman, like, oh, you're gonna make so much, we are so good, like, and they showed you all these like fake documents and shit of like how they've made money for people and stuff like that, and you weren't listening to your intuition because you were so like, maybe you were being materialistic. So it's like, going back to that Atreyu song, is like, a good hard look and can shake you to the core, because it says, so nobody stares at themselves in the mirror anymore. A good hard look can shake you to the core. So do you know who you are? So it's almost like you need to, if you are going to look back into the past and be like, man, that happened to me, what vibration were you actually operating out of? Because I can guarantee now you are way higher and making way better choices out of, your intuition and stuff like that. You're learning the lessons. You learned the lesson. It might be necessary to go look back and be like, I was acting out of lack. I was acting out of insecure, self-worth stuff. Where, say you wanted, back to the crypto thing, is like, well, I want to look rich. I want people to know that I'm successful or something. Maybe that was the deep down drive, versus just loving yourself and doing stuff for yourself and doing the growth. You deserve abundance. You can have all the money you want and you deserve it. Only when you're coming from a space that's, high vibrational, versus like, this lack mindset, like, I need to have a dragon horde and people need to know that I have a dragon horde, that type of thing. Oh, reminds me of my toxic ex. Oh, acting out of that lack mindset, needing to look a certain way, needing to, and we've all been there. We've all been karmic. I've been karmic. Hell, fuck. Real bad. Like, just yesterday I was telling stories about like how when I used to drink, like how much of a fucking douchebag I used to be. Like I'd be headbutting people, arguing with people, like, because I was like so drunk, like I was trying to buy a knife and the guy wouldn't sell me a knife, so I like argued with him. Yeah, I've been a douchebag. We've all been karmic assholes. but it's just a matter of like looking back and reflecting on it and being like, why was I operating? What was causing me to operate out of that? All right. It's interesting how the energy is sometimes. Okay, so there's this this saying from Trailer Park Boys, like the show. They also have movies too, but films, if you will. It's a TV show, like with episodes and stuff. If you haven't seen it, it's funny. One of them is Ray, and he's like one of the dads, and he's like a trucker, and in order to be like on disability or something to get paid without working, he pretends that he's in a wheelchair and can't walk from an accident, and he's just like chaotic. And one of his sayings, like his advice whenever like the boys go to him for advice, or you know, because he's like that father figure, he's like, sometimes she goes, sometimes she doesn't, fucking way she goes. Fucking way she goes, boys, way she goes. Like maybe that's something you need to hear, is like sometimes shitty things just happen, and that's like part of like, you know, you don't, a boring ass, okay, I'm not gonna lie, I would love a super boring video game that like doesn't have fighting or like any sort of conflict in it. But most people, they like, stories are more interesting when there's conflict and contrast and a problem to overcome. You know, you get that like rush of satisfaction. So when you overcome that, so it's like part of like, you know, fucking way she goes. Sometimes that shit happens. Sometimes she goes, sometimes she doesn't. Like sometimes shitty things just happen. And maybe like having that, honestly, if you can, or you know, if somebody's seen it, like put the link to the video on YouTube, or you know, look it up yourself. Trailer Park Boys, Ray, or the man in the chair, if you will. Like it just have maybe like adopting that mentality of like, fucking way she goes, man. Like shitty things just happen. Like you get ripped off, yeah, that happened. You were in a different energy. Sometimes she goes, sometimes she doesn't. And maybe reminding yourself that like we have the Nine of Cups in reverse. Maybe that wish fulfillment was a blessing. Like not getting that wish fulfillment was a blessing. Because this card reminds me of like an ancestor altar or something like that. Like you might just need to, that was like protection, or it was for your highest good. Like just as we have to go through these dark nights and like have these awful fucking things happen to us to raise in vibration, because there's no other way to shake that shit, that heavy energy out of us. So something catastrophic has to happen. Like for me, my spiritual journey, like happened when I had a horrible knee injury and like had to be laid up. I realized I was with like I was being breadcrumbed in a relationship, and then I ended up with the same person again. Like I had to learn that lesson again. Even worse somehow. But Pisces Venus gang was a if you know, you know. So and hilariously, there's like two little fish here, so that's funny. You have to have like, sometimes you just, like I said, you ignore your intuition. You don't listen to it. You don't have that good relationship with it. And that's why all these crazy things happen, because you had to be shook up to be like, listen to your intuition. Shake the baby, if you will, because you weren't listening. Damn it, I keep dropping these cards. Okay. It's a pain in the ass to get them out like right now, so I'll do it after. But and it was interesting because it was both the Six of Wands in reverse and the Nine of Cups in reverse that fell. Yeah, it's because those things happen because you weren't hearing your intuition. You probably heard it, but you were like, you wanted something so bad, like your ego wanted it so bad that it just shut it up, you know? I'm seeing like your intuition, your higher self, your spirit team, whatever, being like hogtied and gagged and thrown in a closet, you know? It's like, or a trunk or something, you know, to where you're not hearing it at all. Like it was just drowned out by this intense desire, and that was operating out of these wounds, these insecurities, you know, whatever, self-worth stuff, because you weren't seeing it with that Four of Cups. Yeah, it was hidden with the moon. And so this is just confirmation, like your intuition is very strong. It's just a matter of listening to it and not letting like the fear, the projections, the gaslighting. You had to learn, and when you did go through those things, that made you stronger up against that shit. That was like, you're a warrior fighting against the enemy. Like those were necessary battles to make you an even stronger, more skilled warrior. It's like, I don't, embarrassingly, I don't really know the hierarchy in like military, so I don't know if it's like general or whatever, but like from a private to a general, like you have to have some like experience. You have to learn a lot. You have to, like, I'm just seeing as like a warrior, like, yeah, this is my seventh battle. Like, I know a lot now, and that's why I'm able to lead these people, because I've made mistakes. I've made, you know, good things have happened, bad things have happened. I've seen all sides of things, and I know now, you know, I can guide somebody to avoid what I've made, you know? So you're like becoming this leader. You have to make mistakes in order to be a leader. You have to go through hell, overcome a bunch of stupid shit, and handle it in a way in order to, you know, like that's not like giving up. You can't give up. You have, that's like part of becoming a leader, is like being embarrassed, being shot down, making a huge mistake and having to own up to it, or, you know, making a mistake or acting in a way that was way out of what, you know, the character of who you are at your deepest core, like your higher self. Like, damn, I was operating out of my ego or out of a wound. That was not me. I fucked up, you know, and accepting that, looking in the mirror and being like, damn, I was doing some straight karmic shit, because I was operating out of my ego. All of those things make you a great leader and a better warrior. And so as you're like, oh, I just don't want that to happen again, with the Hierophant in reverse, like you learned the lesson and it's different this time. Or you're being asked to have like a different approach, because this is like tradition upright. Having a different approach to that look of like shifting your outlook on like why those things happened. And oh, I'm a better warrior. I'm meant to lead. I'm gonna get one more on that because we have the Chariot in reverse. Five o'clock straight up on the clock. Once again, it's like, because we got the High Priestess came out this time. With that Chariot in reverse, it's like catching and realizing that, because we have the Ten of Wands after that. I'm seeing that as there has to be work and like labor to overcome that like stagnancy, that like letting, you know, because we have two, what is that, bulldogs or something? We have two bulldogs, you know, you could feed the white bulldog or the black bulldog, and like using your intuition to do so. And you can coexist, like you can make peace with your ego, because we're always going to have that. As long as we're in a 3D body, we're always going to have a bit of ego. We just have to make homies with it, you know? There was a message that I did a while ago, probably like, I don't know, it was probably like June, May, somewhere around there, the beginning of summer. And I got this image of somebody fighting their ego. And, you know, it's like when these, just because I've witnessed this, is like, you know, guys will get in a fight. And, you know, so this is you and your ego. You know, two guys will get in a fight and they're like, you know, fuck you, man, fuck you. They duke it out. Someone's got the other in a chokehold. And then after, they're like, good fight, man, you know, and then they go get a beer. Like, so that's possible. It's not, you can't just like get rid of your ego. That's like your personality, how you act is your ego. And so like there's ways to befriend it and work with it, but it's just, you just have to wrangle it and hogtie it sometimes. And choosing to feed, you know, you can, by taking these leaps of faith and, you know, doing the heavy lifting of coming up against that fear when your intuition tells you to do so, that's going to show your ego good things can happen when you listen to your intuition without any sort of physical proof, because that's what your ego wants, you know. That's the fear of like, well, what if something bad happens? What if? By doing that, and then, you know, because good things do happen when you take those leap of faith and listen to your intuition. You're proved right. You're, you know, all this stuff. Good things happen. My right ear is ringing. But you have to show your ego that and be like, dude, look, it's okay. And that's, you know, duking it out with your ego and then going to get a beer later and having a talk about it. Like, see, it's fine. So weird. So we have the Empress in reverse and the Emperor in reverse. So this is acting out of like toxic masculinity and toxic femininity. And I'm getting mostly it's just control. Like that's what our ego wants. We want to be in control. And how can we operate out of that how can we shift that and become our divine self, our sacred feminine, our sacred masculine? We have both within ourselves. How can we feed the sacred parts of ourselves? How can we feed the sacred parts of ourselves? Alchemizing with that emperor, or magician, sorry. And that's very, very significant because we have, you know, to clarify these two major arcanas, we got another major arcana. So you're a magician. You have the ability to alchemize and shift anything as long as you can pinpoint it. Okay, where have I been in my toxic masculinity? Control, you know, materialistic, that type of thing. And, you know, look it up because I don't know it all right? Because that might help you if you feel called to do so, you know, looking up like the different traits of toxic masculinity and sacred masculinity, feminine, toxic feminine, you know, that type of stuff. If you feel called to do so, because that might help you pinpoint where you're acting out of it and where you can need to alchemize that into gold. And like just a matter of you looking at it and being like, oh, that's all it takes is to shift into that sacred part of it, that divine part of it. You're a magician. You can alchemize anything. You can get a fucking dove to like appear out of nowhere, you know, out of a damn hat. You can do any of that. So we have the Ace of Swords sideways with the 10 of Cups and the Star. Oh my god, these cards keep falling to the ground here. Maybe it's just time, like that's just the significance of like you dropping these things. Like you're like, there's no need. It's like with this 10 of Wands, like bro, I'm seeing it as like someone carrying way too many groceries into their house, like, because they're like, I'm gonna make it in one trip, and they end up dropping like 2 gallons of milk and it explodes, and like all of this shit, like, you know, their potato chips are crushed, like all this stuff like gets destroyed because they refuse to let, you know, just like not hold all this stuff at once. And they're like, I'm gonna do it in one trip, just being super stubborn about it. So by dropping those things, cutting them off, because the Ace of Swords reverse can be like cutting things completely off, and the Ace of Swords upright is like the truth and clarity. So you're using both sides of this sword to cut things and to see things, to make things more clear. You're cutting things out to like, a good example is like when I grew up on the ranch, like we had this like ditch, well, it was like an old irrigation ditch, like, so it was old farmland, but we had cattle on it, so it was like kind of overgrown and like a little eroded and stuff like that. But when it rained a lot and so we got a lot of grass, we had that ditch still, but you couldn't tell where it was because the grass was so tall. And I was on a 4-wheeler and just hauling ass through the pasture. And I hit that ditch and I went flying. I wrecked the four-wheeler and everything. My leg was all twisted up. I sprained my ankle, all kinds of shit. I still have scars from it. Like, I was tore up. But like, you need to like trim the things to see where the faults are, where the low points are, like, you know, so you can get like a good, like cut the things away so you can kind of get like a full clear look at things. So you can get the satisfaction with it yourself and healing and wish fulfillment. So we have the 10 of Cups and the Star card. That's wish fulfillment, that's healing, that's happiness, you know, just being content and like happy family, you know, that type of thing. But I'm seeing it like, since there's no one in this 10 of Cups, like, yeah, you can have it all, the happy family, all that stuff, your community, but it's like coming into union with yourself and like befriending your ego and like understanding and knowing how to reason with it. And that's you doing the heavy lifting of taking those leaps of faith, even when you're fearful, to show your ego, yo, we don't have to feed the fear anymore. It's safe to take these leaps of faith. You got, because what your ego needs is proof. So by you taking that leap of faith, even though it's like, stop, don't, I'm scared. Don't do that. You remember. But that's when you'll get the proof and your ego will be like, oh, word, all right, you go on. I'll kick my feet up and you just go do your thing. All right, babies, I really gotta go to work. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. I am so proud of all of you. Do not forget who you are. Do not forget how important you are. Just, even when you slip up, it's okay. That's okay. You recognized it. That's the part you should be proud of. It's okay to fuck up. We're human. Duh. Like, we're messy little creatures. We're messy little critters. That's part of it. We're not perfect immediately. And I know it's like you want to see the results of that hard work, but you being able to recognize your mistakes is part of that. That's a result. So be proud of yourselves. I'm proud of you. I love you all so much. Thank you for being here, okay? Bye.